What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and episode 2 of your 2006 Suzuki RM250 build and giveaway. If you guys are new and you missed episode 1, go check it out. Showed you everything you need to know about this 06 RM250 that we're building just for you, get you up to speed. Now in today's episode, I have some really cool tips and tricks for you. We're gonna be fixing, straightening out all the fins in this radiator, getting it looking tip-top. As you can see, it's already had some work done. We will go over that as well. In other words, in this video, we're going to show you how to take your radiators from this, something that is smashed, beat up, dirty, and forgotten, and turn it into something that looks a lot more like this. Straight, vapor blasted, looking super trick, super factory, and all the fins straightened out best we can. Picked up this really cool tool. I'm going to show you guys where to get this as well, and it doesn't just work straight away. I had to modify it, so I'll show you how to do that as well. Now, I'm usually in a pretty giving mood, and today is no different. We will have a comment giveaway in this YouTube video, so let me know down below what your favorite part of this video was. Once we get rolling, I'll be giving away $100, same as cash, free entry to this RM250 back here. Huge congratulations to Andrew Lee, episode 1. He won one of these $100 free entries as well. You killed it, man. I loved your comment. Thanks for leaving something valuable for the community to read and inspire them. So guys, don't forget to drop me a comment. Some of you know there are only 350 entry slots available for this bike. At the start of filming this video, there are 278 left. I've only dropped one YouTube video, so you can do the math on that. Not only that, but I film these videos about a week before you actually get to watch them. So in that amount of time, more have definitely been filled. Enough of that. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I'm going to show you some of the badass parts that I've procured that have showed up for your bike. We'll go ahead and start with this killer set of one-piece bar mounts from my boy Adrian over at Ride Engineering. Got the cones, all the hardware. These are actually going to drop right in, plug and play into your clamp. So that's very cool. It's a great way to upgrade to a nice one-piece bar mount that really does resist bending and twisting in a crash. Also, gorgeous machining. It's just such a nice piece. Also, you got a brand new set of Renthal fat bars. These are actually just takeoffs from my new RMZ 450. So I really like this bend. I think you will too. Now, if you guys like this sort of thing, this is just how it goes with the giveaway bikes. New part after new part after new part. It never gets old, and I'm so grateful that I get to do this for you guys. So thank you for your support. My boys at Rekluse, same thing. Full TorqDrive clutch pack for the RM250. This thing comes with all the springs, all the steels, all the fibers, and these awesome little sacrificial steel drop-ins that go into your clutch basket. Suzukis aren't really known for having the most bomb-proof clutch baskets, and these little steel slip-ins from Rekluse help from having your basket become grooved by the clutch plates or pack slapping into the basket as the engine's power, I guess, is applied to the rear wheel. You guys have already seen in episode 1 some of the really awesome murdered out hardware throughout this bike. Your radiator hoses got the treatment as well, and that will sort of round out today's radiator video. So I'm excited to get an actual look at what these are going to look like, as well as all the steel fasteners that actually hold your radiators in place to the frame. A couple more things came back as well. Dean over at Fast Blast completed your triple clamps. He also completed your swing arm. I told you about this color in episode 1. It's called titanium. Let's check it out on the bike real quick. We'll see how those parts got mocked up. All balls sent brand new linkage bearings, swing arm bearings, triple clamp bearings, so all those have also been installed. New seals throughout, fresh Maxima grease. Let's go ahead and check that out right now, and then we'll get into today's radiator job. Cannot believe the way this bike's shaping up. All right, there she is, a little bit different than last episode when you last saw this beast. You can see some things are changed. We are in the mock-up phase right now, making sure everything jives, and we may as well start up at the radiator because this is what we're going for after today. Let me give this thing a spin, get some light on that for you. As you guys can see, looks amazing. Brett at ICW, you killed it. You guys can see the fins are pretty dang straight. There's a little bit of level of psycho left we can get into, and we'll talk about it later, but for now, looks so freaking trick. I love it. You guys caught a glimpse of the engine in the last video, but you haven't seen the suspension on yet, and I've actually made a decision about this. You guys heard me tell you in the last video, these forks have 2 hours on them since they were fully rebuilt. They were set up for me. They work amazing, and they're in such good shape. I feel a poor use of my resources to get a fork set in such good condition redone. So I'm gonna go ahead and vapor blast the bottoms one more time and the tops one more time, but the shock is looking a little tired. We got a little bit of boot or leg rub there. We had some spring rub as well. And so I got to fix that. So I'm going to be taking that shock apart and getting some things taken care of. I need to black out these spring lock collars up here. I don't know if you can see them in there. You need to vapor blast this or replace this assembly, get the body redone, and put it all back together. So it'll still be fresh, but like I said, I think that's the best use of some of my amazing build team's resources. Now, as mentioned, your triple clamps are back. Dean at Fast Blast absolutely killed it. These look so good. I freaking love this color titanium. You can see the black hardware in there. Mocked up, as mentioned. Looks really, really good. Like I said earlier, all balls, complete rebuild kit for this, the seals, upper and lower bearings. If you guys want to learn how to do that, Tony and I over at MX Skill Shack, our other build and giveaway company, filmed an episode on exactly how to rebuild these from start to finish, and I mean just absolutely destroyed. So you can check that out. I'll leave a link for you below. Guys on the MX Skill Shack channel haven't even seen the cone pipe yet, and we also just dropped a how to build wheels from scratch video as well. So if you want to learn about how to do those sorts of things and win that YZ125, there will be a link below. But for now, back to the other badass bike we're building and giving away. Now, in addition to your triple clamps, Dean also came back with the swing arm completely done. And now you guys are going to get a taste of not only how killer it looks, but the murdered out zinc hardware that's going to be sitting in this chassis on the swing arm. It looks unreal. It'll be the same. When the linkage goes in underneath, we'll have all black hardware in there. We've got 3D P-Motos, 3D printed brake line guide on there, same up front. Other side here, more of that hardware, axle, chain adjuster, all blacked out, all lubed up with Maxima. A little trick I picked up from Uncle Tony. Picked up some goodies from Lightspeed Carbon, some more of that murdered out hardware, some of Dave's M6 dished head bolts. Absolutely love those. This is, of course, the first time you guys have seen your wheel set, brand new wheel set, brakes, rotor, caliper, all that stuff, and all the little black hardware that pops out of it, mocked up for the first time. Super fresh. Absolutely love it. 2024 RMZ front brake caliper. If you were wondering, this stuff bolts right on, guys. So it'll be a 270 mil oversized setup. You guys can't really see the black zinc hardware inside of it. You can kind of see the cap down here, the plug. There's another steel bit in here, steel bit in here. Those are all black zinced. Got some Honda banjo bolts to match. Those are always black. You can just drop them right in. Every bike except for the Austrian with the Brembos. Some more blacked out stuff here. Like I said, we'll be vapor blasting these one more time. Get them a little bit brighter. Got your black zinc axle and nut. Of course, caliper is completely rebuilt with all balls components and OEM pistons. We will be setting up that Brembo 9mm master cylinder up here once we get that one-piece bar mount from Ride in and we have some bars and real estate for that sort of thing. Side note on the sprocket, I was not paying attention when I bought it. I put this in the cart, pulled the trigger on it. I thought I had an all black one. I didn't even realize it was a twin ring, but it actually works out pretty well with this bike. So more of Dave's Bolt Motorcycle hardware, double locking hub saver sprocket fasteners. This worked out perfectly. They're already black when you buy them. Kind of overlooked it, but we got some more Lightspeed Carbon over here. These are the original 2006 RM250 rear brakes or caliper, fully rebuilt as well. You can actually see some of the black zinc popping out of that bad boy. I do have a little issue with this part. I think it's a little tall in the rear. Should be a little bit further down, and it has a light blemish on it. So I don't know if I'm okay with that, but we'll figure it out. Either way, you guys are getting some more carbon fiber. And then something else I'm super geeked out on, obviously, fully rebuilt rear master cylinder as well. Got the brand new sight glass pressed in there for you guys. It's just fresh top to bottom. All balls rebuild kit inside, all the seals that are on the piston. And I showed you guys this in episode 1. Went so deep with the murdered out zinc hardware. This entire plunger setup is all zinced out. So is the jam nut and the clevis. So looking really forward to seeing what that looks like all complete. But as you can see, pretty freaking trick already. All right, so you guys are completely up to date now with what's happened to your RM250 since the last time you saw it. If you want to win this bike, mXrevival.com. I'll leave a link below, and that's the same for everything I talk about in today's video. All the tools we're about to jump into as well. We're going to go ahead and fix some of those ugly ass fins. Let's get into it. All right, here we are on the bench. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with all this awesome welding and caging. We're going to go over some of the tools, all of the tools that you need to do what we're about to do today, and then we're going to do the work. Guys, as you can see, my buddy Brett at ICW already straightened these out. They weren't quite as munched as the radiator I showed you guys in the intro, but they were a little bit twisted out of true. They were definitely crunched in on the sides. Kind of see these rows that get messed up right along the edge of the radiator. First row of fins tends to get smashed, and when these are brought back out to square, or full width, there's not really much you can do to save those. We'll talk about that a little more as we go. But Brett takes care of all the shortcomings stock radiators have, and as I mentioned in the last video, these are gonna fit the best. On the RC4 replica build we're doing for our buddy Dan, had some of those aftermarket radiators. They're really thick, they're really wide, and they actually contacted the exhaust valve that was, or the exhaust valve cover on the engine. So imagine that vibrating into your engine. Not good, right? In addition to straightening these things out, they're seam welded, top and bottom. So if you guys want to have your radiators just absolutely bomb-proofed by Brett, send these in, make sure they're clean. He will charge you. He doesn't like that. It's the right thing to do. But all of the spigots, all welded around, obviously caged and then gusseted in the corners. The only thing you might need to do sometimes is snip your louvers. When these louvers go back in, these are taking up a little bit of space where the louver might try and sit flat, so you might need to snip the louver just a little bit, pair of snips, done deal. In this case, this bike, you can get away with sort of flexing it around that. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the tools we need. A buddy of mine, Josh, if you're watching, thanks for sending me an Instagram reel about these little radiator straighteners. I was getting ready to hit up my buddy Josh at 3DP Moto and see if he could make me a tool that was sort of, I don't know, triangular shape so it could drop into these and straighten these out. And then law of attraction, it's how the universe is. When you think about something, suddenly it's in the palm of your hand. He sent me a link to this tool. And so there is one bummer about it. It was on Amazon. Everything I show you guys right now, I'm gonna link. It comes with all these other adapters for different size radiator fins. Problem, it's automotive. So I checked it out. I found basically the one I thought would work the best. And then I snipped every other little tooth or comb or whatever you'd like to call it out of there using an X-Acto knife. Every time I move these parts, I lose the pieces, but that's basically what gets snipped out. So 4 of those came out. And the way I determined it to be the best fit for the job was kind of like when you're lining up one bolt thread pitch with another bolt thread pitch when you're at the hardware store trying to find a match. I just made sure that the tips of these triangulated sections here, for example, tip, 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 lined up with each one of those, and then I was able to delete the ones, let's see if I can line that up and get a good shot. I was able to delete the ones in the middle, and it pretty much was exact after that, as exact as this tool is going to be, you know, being that it was never for dirt bike radiators. Next thing we need, a little pick. It can look something like this. You can use anything pointy, a little machine screwdriver, really anything like that's gonna work. And then before we go in the vapor blaster, we're gonna use these silicone plugs. They're actually for powder coating. You plug holes in your frame, whatever it might be with them, and then when you bake the powder coated or Cearakote part, these don't melt, they can resist heat. So these will be on Amazon too. Basically, you just measure the holes that you need to plug, whatever they may be, frame, radiators, all that sort of thing. And then when you go on Amazon, there'll be a fitment range. So just get an assorted pack of these, and then you'll have all kind of different sizes. Little ones, ones that are big enough to go in the old school Honda swing arms that have the big linkage hole in them. It'll plug that, no problem, if you're doing some vapor blasting on those. And then this guy here, everybody knows what a set of needle nose pliers looks like. This is the last level of psycho that you may want to do on your radiators after vapor blasting. And I'm going to show you why after vapor blasting and not before. Essentially will be, once all these are fixed best we can with the tool, there might be a little wiggle or a wobble in these fins, and you can actually grab this and straighten them out. Like I said, we'll talk more about that later. When you vapor blast these, after all the straightening, if you're not careful, the PSI or pressure in the blaster can sort of fray them back over. And so got to be very careful. Anyways, last touch, if you want to go crazy. Man, going to look nuts. I'm missing 4 things. When we're done, got some fresh ICW decals. We're of course going to have to take these off here, even though they are brand new. Sorry, Brett, thanks for the sticker sheet. To get those off, I'll be using this plastic razor blade. I actually learned about these from Dean. I saw him using one, and I was like, what the hell is that thing, man? And he goes, oh, it's a plastic razor blade. So if you had a metal razor blade and you didn't want to mar the part up or leave scrapes or gouges, because metal razor blades are super sharp, these do the trick. And he was actually, I forget what he was doing, maybe removing some mask from a powder coated part, but these work amazing getting gasket material off engine cases, like your center cases or your primary cover, and they will not dig into or scrape aluminum up and out of your precious engine cases. So very awesome. Those will be linked below as well. Rounding out the sticker removal, this stuff, guys, it's insane. I thought brake cleaner was good at removing sticker residue. Maxima contact cleaner, it's no joke. It vaporizes sticker goo. So get yourself some of that. Okay, here we are. We got death from above. I got the camera as good as I think I'm going to be able to get it and keep it in focus for you guys. So first things first, go through this whole radiator, at least for me, and some of these are going to be rolled over. They're just really just flat to one side or the other. And so when you try to ram this tool in there, you're probably just going to bend it over more, sort of flip the thing upside down or on its side. So I take the pick, and as these have an open-ended and then a more closed end over here, just jump in and I with the pick, and I just kind of, and it's not pretty, we're going to flare them up best we can. So you can see when I'm putting the pick in, I'm dragging up and pulling up as I leave that little thin area there. So hopefully this is not too blurry for you guys. Do my best. These are folded up, 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 then the other way, up, up, up. And so you'll do that, you know, both sides of the radiator until you get all that stuff figured out. This is a particularly bad section right here. There may be no saving it. And also when you get into a section like this, sometimes the fins are just snapped off these cores where the coolant actually travels through. So they're not going to be perfect. They're used radiators. Kind of is what it is. But these fit better than aftermarket, as we mentioned. Oh man, these are whacked out. So this is where I said, look, there's one right there. Those are just broken off. They're not even attached to that bad boy. So if you get one like that, take your needle nose. This is before psycho stage, and you kind of just lift that thing up and wiggle it off, and then you end up with a little piece. See if I can get it. A little piece of aluminum. Come on, focus. Like that. So not much you can do about that except for get it out of the way. So you're going to make your way around with the pick, get all the stuff that's folded over upright and straight best you can, and we're going to phase into this tool next. Before we do that, I'll show you that edge again. There's no saving those bad boys in there. They're gone. You can try, do your best, straighten them, you know, best you can, but for the most part, that's what happens when the radiator edge gets folded in and then straightened back out. There's one more mention, and I'm not sure you guys can see it, right in here. Where are we? There's a bunch of dirt in there. Yeah, you can see it. It's in the middle there. Scrape that out too. Get that out, because the vapor blaster will do it, but not only do I not prefer that kind of stuff in the blast cabinet, but you also want to be really leery of vapor blasting these fins once they're straightened out, as I mentioned earlier. So get all the dirt out too. Get some weeds or whatever, some foxtails from Grandpa's orchard, and get them out of there too. All right, looking a bit better, right? Oh, there's one right there. Missed it. It's gonna happen. We're gonna come up on that stuff. It's time to get into this bad boy here. And it seems like it's gonna be a very tedious process. That whole hyperlapse footage I just ran for you guys was about 10 minutes, both sides, with the pick. So it doesn't take that long, and it's kind of soothing. You get to think. So you can work in quadrants if you want. These bars make nice quadrants. You can go up and down, or if you have an active brain like mine, you can go wherever you want. Some people call it ADHD, and I just like to call it freestyle. All right, we're in here up close again. We're going to start using our little Amazon tool here, and I'll just work this center for you. So now that I've opened these up and they're not all folded over, thanks to our friend the pick, we can actually get into these larger, more open sides and start working the fins. So I found it best to work the fin that way, or a particular way, jump just one row up and work them back. And like I said, this seems like it's going to take forever, but it really doesn't. Just skip one or two at a time and drag them left and then drag them right. Drag them left and then drag them right. Drag them left, right. We'll just finish this section together here. And you can go back and forth. Doesn't hurt to go back again. You're going to miss stuff. And once you get to the bar, obviously you're at the bar, and that's that. So the reason I go back and forth without destroying the rest of the radiator on accident like that is because this thing is a certain width, right? The teeth are a certain width. And so you're no longer gonna have that shape where there's a point on one side. See here, you're not gonna have a point on one side and so on and so forth, like wedges of cheese. You're gonna have this sort of opened up, more rounded look here. So that's why you wanna go back and forth. Not to mention, you get a little more uniformity out of that set of fins. And so you guys can see, even though we've done this section here, you still get like some wiggle. Let's see, like that right there, you get some wiggle. That's where the needle nose pliers are gonna come in later. And I mentioned earlier that's later because the vapor blasting is gonna lay some of these down just a little bit, just a tiny bit. So I gotta be really careful and minimize that. But as far as this tool goes, you guys saw it wasn't too bad, right? Got a section. We'll do it one more time. Left, you might have to skip a little bit because you can't get in there yet, and right. Skip a little bit if you have to, and then right. And then skip a little bit, and you're going to be picking up anything you skip because there are 4 teeth on this, as long as you don't skip too big a section. So you guys can literally watch this changing, and it's a far cry from what it was. So don't be afraid to go back and work a section again. You'll probably get a little more out of it, but there's another row that looks a hell of a lot better. So we got these 2 right here, and then we have this just, it's a mess. Here's one of those Lucy's we were talking about earlier. It's just not even attached. So sometimes they're long enough you can give them a wiggle by hand. That one broke right at the triangulated point, so then I'd need the needle nose again, get as close as you can, and just fatigue it until it comes home. There's no saving that. All right, you guys can see we're making some serious progress. Now this is done with the little comb tool, and this side was pick only. So it took me about 8 minutes to do this side with the comb, 10 minutes to do this side with the pick. So you can say you're gonna be into these for about 40 minutes doing front and rear with the pick and the comb. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the picked side with the comb tool. And one thing I wanted to point out is that, let's see, you guys can see it looks pretty dang good, right? But there's like some shiny spots over here. Catch your eye every once in a while. So that is where the fins are sort of wavy that you'd want to straighten out with the needle nose pliers. Now, the reason those kind of suck is they're visible now, but once you vapor blast a radiator or anything really, it becomes even brighter. So those little wavy spots that aren't perfectly straight up and down are going to have a bit brighter of a finish, and so they're a little bit more noticeable. So again, psycho mode comes in at the very, very end, but you can see this is a lot better from where we started, and this picked side is about to be a lot better too. Once I'm done combing this side, we'll go ahead and get the plugs put in and get the decals pulled off with these killer plastic razor blades, use some Maxima, and we will jump into the vapor blaster. All right, everything is picked and combed. A lot of broken dreams up in here, guys. A lot of little pieces I had to pull out with the needle nose pliers. Little pieces of aluminum, so everything's looking a lot better though. So now we're gonna go ahead and plug this up with the silicone plugs. Nothing too scientific there. I already picked out the ones I needed. Go ahead and wedge them into your radiators. You don't want to get any blasting media inside these, obviously. You could flush them out. No guarantee that you'll get it all out, so that's that. Now we need to use that plastic razor blade. Pull off those decals. You can use some heat if you want. Grab yourself a heat gun. It might help get some of that adhesive up with it. But I'll show you how good that Maxima is. So yeah, a little bit of residue left behind right in that area. No scratches. Super cool little tip and trick from Dino. These things aren't as sharp in terms of cut you open like a razor blade, but they're pretty dang thin on the end. They probably could, but they work just as well without being too grabby. So that's that. Get a little Maxima. Stuff comes right off. It is child's play for the old contact cleaner. All right, guys, we're ready for the vapor blaster. All the sticker residue is removed. You can see right now you got some oxidation, kind of hazy. You got some wire brush marks on there. You have some old crud around this spigot and just kind of discoloration from the welds. So we're going to throw these in the vapor blaster. Obviously I can't take you guys in there. I have a really awesome video on vapor blasting I'll link below. Everyone's always asking about pressures, how to do it, this and that, what kind of media do you use. It's pretty relentless and no stone unturned video, so let's throw these in the cabinet and see the difference. Into the cabinet. This guy here, we're using some glass bead. You can kind of see left a mess. It's very, very fine. So this is actually polishing as it strikes the part. And you can see why you don't want to get it inside your radiators. Actually, I have some pretty good light in here. One final look at the dirt and discoloration. Got some sort of sealant going on there. He's had a couple pinholes, I believe. Alright guys, here's a quick one-handed preview. Got the nozzle in here. This is an HTMR gun. Check that out, it'll be in that video as well. We're gonna get blasting. I need to keep a decent distance away from this part because aluminum radiators and swing arms especially, kind of a softer alloy, so you get these, I don't know, pressure washing lines in them. Imagine pressure washing a fence, right? And you get all these blast lines in it, so got to be delicate here, keep a good distance. When I get into the fins, I kind of need to stay up and down, up and down. If I blast sideways, I'll roll all that work over we just did, so I'll be going more, again, distance and at a lower PSI, so for now I'll just go extra far. I'll be going with the fins rather than opposing them or intersecting them. And I'll see you in a few minutes. A really nice radiator. All right, guys, this is the part of the show where we do the voiceover because my microphone took a crap on me. God damn, look at that radiator. Absolutely gorgeous. That's vapor blasting for you. That never gets old. Super, super bright. No idea what I was rambling about here. Probably just saying the exact same thing I'm thinking right now. Let's jump to the next clip. All right, so I mentioned to you guys earlier that no matter how careful I was with the vapor blaster and trying not to lay these fins back down, that it was still going to happen. Some of them are really fatigued, really old, used, obviously. So using the tool one more time to straighten things back up to where they were before we started vapor blasting, and this makes a huge difference in the process. Now we know the Maxima contact cleaner got the sticker residue off super fast, but more than that, I took these rubber grommets, I was trying to demonstrate that here in the video, and also this radiator hose, and applied some of the Maxima to these rubber products. I left a little bit of grime on them after ultrasonic cleaning, and if there's anything left, the contact cleaner makes these look brand new. Ultra black, it takes all the dirt off, so another little trick in the arsenal if you have some really stubborn stuck dirt in your rubber parts. Now with these little rubber grommets all cleaned up, you can see they are directional. There's sort of a flared inner edge on that radiator, and there's also a flared or cupped side in that rubber grommet, so they're a little bit of a pain in the butt to get in. You can just use the end of a screwdriver, not too sharp, because you can punch a hole in them, or something sort of blunt, like the needle nose pliers I have here in the clip, and you can push the edge that is difficult to push through all the way through with said tool. Now we've got our ultra sexy little black zinc steel washers, collars, inserts, whatever you like to call them. Go ahead and throw that into your rubber grommet. They go from the frame side in, not the other way around. So you don't want to be able to see those from the point where the radiators are installed on the bike, looking inward at the radiators. Now when you drop the louver in, I mentioned earlier, it might be a good idea to snip your louver where they are going to contact the bars or the cages that ICW welded in. In this case, I just have to skip up and over the welds on the edge of the radiator, and it'll pop right up and over. Some radiators might absolutely require this in order for the louvers to fit. So RM250, no problem, snaps right in. And now it's time to take a look at these badass blacked out zinc hose clamps. We've got our radiator hose, bright and shiny from the Maxima. It's ultra clean. When I zinc plated these hose clamps, in case you want to try this yourself, you want to make sure that the end of it is open. You don't want the hose clamp to be closed, otherwise you won't get a plating on the portion or the tail end of the hose clamp that is under the screw. So doing a test fit here, I cannot get over how clean this looks. It's just, now doing a quick test fit here, I cannot get over how clean this looks. It's just on another level. It's a amazing detail for this bike build, and I will definitely be trying this again on future bike builds. Go ahead and install a fresh ICW decal, and we're just about done. It's time to mock this thing up on the bike. All right, let's get this bastard on the bike. As you guys can see, I already have the appropriate hardware staged in the frame, so when you slide these into your radiators, you'll notice there's another fender washer that's about the same exact size as the sleeve or washer that's on the back side of the rubber grommet. So just pay attention to that. Also, these aren't crazy long. Just kind of get a feel for what you need by looking at the frame. You can test a bolt in there as well if you don't have your original ones. And these things look absolutely unreal. All right, so as good as these things look, this is where you can deploy psycho mode if you like, the needle nose pliers. Up close, especially on this left side radiator, you can see just how wavy all the fins are, even after being combed, after being picked, after being blasted and then straightened back up again. When you're this close, it's just not the prettiest thing in the world. So sometimes the needle nose are going to make things worse. Sometimes, if you're patient, you can flatten some of those waves out. You guys can see as I pull back the camera here, it's not as noticeable from a few feet away. However, you know it's there, and it might drive you crazy. But for the most part, mission is accomplished, and your radiators look pretty damn. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the video. Hope you enjoyed my voiceover. I lost my mic. That's the first time I've ever had to do that. So a new trick in the bag, I guess. Anyways, last thing I left off saying when I lost mics was that even though we straightened out those fins with the needle nose pliers, and you kind of can't see it from a few feet away, you still know it's there. So it kind of drives you nuts, but this is about as good as it gets for me. Drop some tips below if you guys have some more ideas, or your wife has some cool tool that can pinch those little fins flat in her makeup drawer. You don't want to buy these brand new. The Suzuki ones, at least, the OEM ones, are about 800 bucks a piece, 700 and something, and that's if you can still get them. So definitely you want to try and salvage these if you can. I hope this video showed you how to do that. Wrapping up, guys, next time we do an RM250 video, we are going to get into the Lectron Pro Series carburetor. I want to show you guys a little bit with our new accelerator metering rod. We're going to drop that in together. I haven't yet used it myself. Super intriguing piece. Basically works like an accelerator pump on a 4-stroke carburetor, so they say. A little extra burst of fuel off the bottom. I've also got some engine parts rolling in. We're finally going to send the transmission out to cryo heat, have all of your gears hardened and micro polished. Other than that, if you guys want to win this thing, you know what to do, mXrevival.com. Best of luck to you. Do not forget to leave a comment for today's video giveaway, the $100 same as cash entry for this bike, running out of slots rapidly. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, until next time, tread safe, and I'll see you soon.